Hey, MJ. Okay, just waiting for Amy to join. Can I find her?
I can only get my camera to turn around.
Okay.
Taking a right view of me. Hello. Hello, everyone. Hola, hola. I just walked through my door, so I'm going to be taking you around whilst I drop my stuff. This is supposed to be natural stuff, right? So no one's expecting this to be perfect. Hey, get with it. Get with it. Get with it.
Perfection is the enemy of progress. So
It is definitely an enemy of progress. And nobody really connects with perfection anyway. So at least you know that I have a life. I was able to run errands and all of those things before I come on this call. So no natural stuff. The natural run of events. Although I won't be showing you what I was up to in my errands because it was embarrassing. But hey.
I can guess it has something to do with shopping.
Yes,
Considering
it does.
you have
We
a
went to
shopping we'll just let it hang that way.
Yeah, let it pass our way, please. Let it pass our way. I do not encourage people to go shopping if you cannot afford. See, listen, buy what you need. Don't go shopping. Just buy what you need. If you happen to pass by it and you happen to need it, then buy it. This is not the reason for this particular live, so I'm going to shut up now. Hi, guys.
Okay, but anyway, so while you're settling down, welcome to everyone who's joining us. So today is the second session of our free virtual mastermind. And just for those of you who weren't here last week, so this is just there's no script. There's really we haven't planned anything, so we don't know what's going to show up. But this is more for, it's for all of us, it's for us as well, but it's also for you if you're on the call. And the reason why we set this up is really to help people push through and keep moving forward with whatever their goals are. Life throws a lot of curveball. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do this today because I did lose my dad 6 days ago.
Yes.
And it's something that I have thought about for a very long time. Like, once you have parents that are a little bit older, it's something that you're like, oh, what would happen if? Trust me, you can never plan for it. And so just showing up today for me is like living what I preach, so just show up anyway, because today might be the day that someone really needs to be on this call to change their life, to move something forward that's been holding them stuck. You might just hear a word that might inspire you to take action, or might even help you to get some clarity on what you want to do with your life. So I might not be smiling today because I'm still sad from losing my dad, but I'm here. I'm present. I'm here to be of help as much as possible, same as Benny. And we're here to receive your blessings as well, because iron sharpened iron. So the more we pour into you, same way that you all pour into us. And this is just an open, free space where we just want to share and make sure that if there's any way that we can help you or support you, we're here for that.
Dito, actually. And Joan, I already said this. I'm really sorry for your loss. And I think I respect the fact that you still showed up. It's living into your commitments, and it's a big thing. So it's, like you say, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, isn't it? So if you still show up for this, I guess, I hope that everybody else who's supposed to be here or needs something from this particular session, or even can be a blessing to us in this session, actually does show up. Exactly. Hi, Bless Nene, I see you. So let's get started, because I know last week we didn't have a lot of people jump in, but I guess they were trying to get a sense of what we were about and what we're looking to do. So I'm hoping that those who already have an idea, you can raise your hand and we'll bring you up and we just have a conversation, really. If you have something that you're trying to walk through, if you have an idea that you're not sure how to get started, or something that you wanted to do this year that didn't quite work out well and you're wondering what next, this is the time. Just raise your hand, come up, and we will definitely add you on to this. Nobody's perfect. We might not even have the answers, like Joan said last week. Somebody else on the call or in the audience might have the answer. But it does help that when we bring together our collective minds, a mastermind will appear and help to solve a particular problem. And also it helps to build relationships and accountability, as we said again last week. So I am keeping it open now. Raise your hand that you want to join, and Joan will bring you up to join.
Yeah. So the question is, looking back, we're in the 11th month of the year, looking back to how you started the year, what are some of the things, and again, it could be plus or minus, what are some of the things that you set out to accomplish this year that you actually accomplished? Because we want to celebrate with you. And what are some of the things that maybe you thought you wanted to do, but you just didn't know how to get started? We're here to listen and help as much as we can. And then maybe there were things that you actually started to do, but now you're not quite sure you're on the right path and you want to change, or you want some ideas on how you can pivot. Because, like I talked about last week, sometimes we get stuck in, oh, I already committed to this, I have to do this. Nobody has to do anything. If something is not working, you need to pivot. You might have said, oh, this year I want to start a new career. And then maybe you tried out that new career, you're like, geez, why am I still bored? Why am I still broke? Why do I still not have time to spend with my family and loved ones? There's so many reasons why we need to keep making decisions all the time, and we need to pivot, and we need to have sounding boards, people that you can talk to, people who have some experience or no experience or whatever it is. That's why we're here. We can pour into you, you can pour into us, and we can all kind of just pour into each other and really create that mastermind to help each and every single one of us move forward. So,
yep, I'm only here for the next hour. So
yes.
Maximize it. Trust me. The hour of my time and Joan's time combined together. Whew, monetary value. Trust me. Leverage it while you have it now.
And you can use the chat as well. If you don't want to come online, you can use the chat. What are some things that you're still working on, or you're trying to work through, or some ideas that you're thinking of starting, or something that you need help with? Again, it could be any area of life. It could be career-wise. It could be business-wise. It could be whatever it is. Whatever you feel like is holding you back, areas in your life where you feel stuck. Now's the time. Hey, Deshala. Hey, Zeno.
I'm on mute. I'm speaking. Bless Nene, I expect you to raise your hand and come up.
Blessing, don't be shy. Come.
Nene. How was your week, Joan?
Good.
I know we haven't really spoken much this week, have we?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
One of those weeks.
I know. I'm very sorry.
One of those weeks. Different kind of week this week. So, yeah. One parent down kind of week. But it was good. We had our first snow. Okay, she says she's not in the proper place. Well, maybe you could just put stuff in the chat. Or
Okay. Okay. That's fine. That is fine. You're the one that defines proper place, though, just so you're aware. Because most people would think that there's supposed to be a certain, as you can see, I spent the last few minutes trying to even get my stuff set out because I just came in. There's no proper place when you want to get the answers, right? So let's not let the aesthetics and the what ceremony get in the way of what you want to actually achieve.
Yeah.
Oh, Yanni, it's been a beautiful day. Good evening, ladies. Good evening. It's afternoon for us over here. But good evening to you.
Good evening. So maybe while we're waiting, maybe we can talk about, because I think like for a lot of people, even though this is applicable to people who live in Nigeria, but I think it's more for people who have relocated from Nigeria and now maybe trying to create a new life. By new life, I mean being able to provide for their family, to have the lifestyle that they want, and are now feeling stuck. They're feeling stuck, or maybe they're just not able to earn the kind of money that they want to earn. Maybe when they were back home, they had a good job in a particular field or area, and now they've come to a different country and it just doesn't translate as directly, and now they're struggling to get a job that pays them enough to maintain their lifestyle.
Okay. What is our first take to them? I think my first take to anybody in that space is listen, you're not alone. A lot of people have gone through it. A lot of people are going through it. Um, there's a saying in Yoruba that says that there's nothing new under the sun. So in this case, it means that what you're going through is not new. Somebody else has gone through it and they have scaled through it, which means that the solution is out there. The other thing though is, and that is just for you from a mindset perspective to relax and not get all worked up about it, because the more you get worked about it, the cycle continues, and that energy that you're in, getting worked up about it, doesn't produce results. So you just continue in that vicious cycle. So take a step back and relax. Know that there's a solution out there and the job that you want is within reach. That's the first thing you need to do. So deal with your mindset. That's the first thing. The second thing is, let's ask ourselves, what has been the response? I always say there are three stages to getting any job that you want. The first one is your resume even allowing you get interview calls? If your resume is not, if you're sending out that resume and there is no response, there is no call, there's nothing, then we need to work on your resume. We need to take a step back and say, actually, what am I trying to say about myself, and what is the paper or the resume actually saying about me? This is where you see a professional, or even just see a friend who you believe is successful and has been able to do that transition. Let them go through your resume and let them tell you what they see in your resume. Because when you look at your resume, you have an idea of what you think you're reading, but that's what we're reading from memory and not reading from the paper. And so we think we have presenting something that is actually different from what we are looking to present. So what I want you to do is, if you're at the first stage where there is nothing coming through, get professional help. Or if you cannot afford professional help, and it don't cost much, you can drop a message to Joan, drop a message to myself. We'll happily spend some time to look through it for you and tell you matter of factly what we think your resume is saying against what you're actually looking for. The second bit is, if your resume has been looked at, is getting you through the door, or for some weird reason, every time you have a phone conversation, you never hear back, then that is a different conversation entirely, because we now have to talk about how you present yourself, right? How do you come across? What do you say? How do you sound? What kind of examples are you giving? Stuff like that, even with the recruiter in the first place. Then if you're actually getting through the recruiter, but then when they put you in front of the client or they put you at the interview space, they say, oh, we're really sorry, we're going on with somebody else. Then that's a different preparation that is required for that. Again, it really depends on where you are in that journey of, either getting the feedback or getting the I hate the word, but the rejections, because I remember when I used to receive it, we're sorry, but thank you for your patience, we are sorry, but And so when you have loads of those, it can really mess with your mind, and it can begin to mess with your self-esteem. You begin to check and ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? Am I not worth it? Am I not, experienced enough? All of those things are things that we can deal with, but as I said in my long-winded way, it really depends on at what stage in that journey are you at. But the very first piece to do is the mindset. Believe that what you're looking for can be achieved. Surround yourself with people who have achieved the same, and then we now begin to walk through what stage of that hiring process or that achieving and receiving process are you in, and then we can deal with it at that particular level. Those are my thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. And, it kind of reminds me of, this is now years ago, maybe 20 something years ago, when I was living in the UK, and I was pretty young, like I was like 19 or whatever. And I just knew that I had been working like odd jobs. I'd done the whole McDonald's thing. It wasn't working for me. I went and worked in a cinema. It was fun, but it wasn't really working for me. And then I went and worked for Ladbrokes, which is like the betting shop. And I still felt like I wasn't earning enough. I still felt like I was in a lot of debt, because that's what you do as a young student in the UK. You just rack up all of the credit cards, because everyone's like just throwing this stuff at you, right? So I had racked up a lot of debt, and I still wasn't living the kind of lifestyle that I wanted. And for a very long time, I'll say to people, oh, I want to earn one. They're like, you're 19, you haven't graduated, but you don't really have any corporate experience. How are you going to get a job? It's not possible, it's not possible, it's not possible. And for a long time, that really held me back, because I really thought it wasn't possible. And it wasn't up until one day, some guy that I was working with they were advertising some IT support job in some broadcasting company. And he was like, Joan, didn't you say you're studying IT? I was like, yeah, but I haven't quite finished yet. He said, no, I think this job would be good for you. Like, it's in the city. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm not qualified. He said, no, I think you can do this. And, I was just like, okay, let me just try because, hey, let it not be like I'm not trying. So let me just prove to myself again that I'm not qualified. I can't get this job. All the negative self-talk. I told myself that at 19, you should just be doing a minimum wage job and that's it. But I applied for this job and, like Baby was saying, I was like, I don't even know if I have the skills. My resume was just meh, no one looked at it. And funny enough, they said, okay, come for the interview. I went for the interview. I know till today, it wasn't my resume that got me that job. I think it was my personality that got me the job because it was just a fun interview. We're just laughing. Because again, I'd already told myself, I'm not going to get this job. So I had nothing to lose. It wasn't going to bother me. I was just like, I'm going to have fun at this interview. This was the first corporate interview I've ever had in my life. For me, it was like, whoa, I'm even sitting in this space. Hey, this is perfect. And so, I went for that interview. We had so much fun with the interview. And at the end of it, I was offered the job. So I had two options. I could have said, okay, actually, I haven't really graduated. Yeah, I know some IT, but I don't really know IT support. But a voice inside of me just said, be quiet. How do you know you can't do this job? You don't know that. So anyway, long story short, I took on the job and I worked at the job. And, up until then, I was like, is it possible to work in IT support without being a graduate? I had all these stories in my head about you need to have this degree, you need to have done this, you need to work experience, you need a yada, yada, yada. You can't, it's not possible, it's not possible. Because that's how we're raised. We're raised to do all the planning, get ready before we convince ourselves that we might be qualified to apply for a role. But for me, that was such an eye-opener for me. And just to give you some numbers, I went from earning like 300 or 400 pounds a month to earning 3,000 pounds a month. Like, it was mind-blowing for me. I was like, what am I going to do with all this money? Now the problem was, how do I spend this money? So a convertible first, check. A house in the city, check. But again, that was what I got to experience at such a young age. And I was like, wow, nothing is impossible. And I think for me, that's where this impossible mindset when it comes to career and jobs just came from, because I was like, if as a 19-year-old who was only barely my second year in university, who didn't really know much about IT support, could get this job in this city, work in corporate, dress up and just go there and rock it without any proper experience, what else is impossible? Like, we're not doing brain surgery here. We're talking about regular jobs. And so just to Bami's point, first of all, you need to believe in yourself that you can get this job. Believe that you are worthy of getting such a job. It is possible. Studying is good. And there's nothing wrong with, okay, if there's a job you're targeting, like, okay, are there gaps, are there knowledge gaps, are there things I need to learn? Yeah, you could go pick up 1 or 2 skills, but don't let that be the reason why you're not going for these things. Go for it. You never know. You never know. Until date, knock on wood, like I'm telling you, 90% of jobs I apply for, hey, it's usually my choice. Do I want to accept the offer or not? And that's the mindset. But before even going into the type of job that you want to look for, I think people look at jobs differently. Some people, a job is their life. This is all I want to do. This is what is going to sustain me till I'm 65. Good, nothing wrong with that. For some people, it's like, I have to be passionate about the job that I do. I need to enjoy it every single day. I need a sense of purpose from the job. I need to know that it's impacting lives or doing whatever it is for you, all well and good. I think we all need to be clear on, why do you want a job, a particular job? Is it for money to pay bills to sustain your family? Then don't lose focus. Like, just hold on to that. If you want to earn more money, then aim for higher paid jobs. Don't be in the comfortable, I know I can get a job that pays me 50K when you know that you need 100K to survive, right? Don't stay in that comfort zone. Push yourself. Say, look, the people earning 100K, 6 figures, they don't have 2 heads. They don't even necessarily have more education than you do. So you need to change your mindset around what is possible for your life. Why do I want a job? Why do I want to earn more money? Let that be what is pushing you forward so that you don't give up. And then figure out, what are the jobs that are available? What skills do I have already that can get me those kind of jobs? And if there's a gap, go learn it. Like, in today's world, you can learn anything on YouTube. There's free courses all over the world, everywhere. You can learn anything online. Go learn the skills that can get you the type of job, and then be prepared. Get your resume together. Again, maybe I said you can reach out to us if you need help with your resume. And interview prep. Go and show up like you know what you're talking about. There's nothing worse than being at an interview and you're like, or acting desperate, like, ooh, and they ask you a question, you're scared, you're not confident. Look, confident, we all fake this confidence. Everybody, no matter, I've been working for over 25 years. I still have imposter syndrome. But you're not going to ever see that. When I show up at interviews, I show up like I own this. I'm like, why should I come work for your company? Like, what's wrong with your company? Why is it broken? Who was here before me? What did they do? What did they not do? Are you guys the problem? Tell me. So you need to show up with some level of confidence. Fake it if you need to. At least I fake it, and it's worked for me. So fake it. But if you think that you're going to have all the experience, all the knowledge, all the preparation, then the job will be sitting there waiting for you. You're going to be disappointed. You will be disappointed. That is the truth. So figure out why you want a job, how much you want to earn, what jobs are available, what gaps you have, go learn some skills, and start applying for those jobs.
I actually think you even just start applying whilst you pick up those skills, because one of the things that people do is we always talk ourselves out of it before we even get out there. Oh, yeah. Like you said, there's a mind battle, there is the conversation with yourself. And that self-talk is so important. And so if you've talked yourself out of the, it's how I watch tennis. Back in the day, if any of you are tennis fans, right? I enjoy watching Nadal. Why? Nadal can be 3 down, but he's fighting like, listen, I still own this court, and it makes the opponent work for it. Mm-hmm. That was the difference. If you watch now, and those of you who watch tennis, this will make sense to you. That was the shift that happened in our dear British man. His name just skipped my mind now. His name just skipped my mind now. His name was on my mind just a minute ago. That was the shift in mindset. When you watch athletes, you can tell who is going to lose and who is going to win just by the sense of their appearance and how they carry themselves and what they're saying. When you watch boxers before the battle and they come together and they're talking shit at each other, it's not for the fun. They're trying to mess with the person's psyche, because if I can win you here, over here, it's only a matter of minutes. Because when you get to a particular level, those physical skills don't make as much of a difference. Even when I work with executives, I realize that the qualification gap is very, very little. It's not those things that make a difference, right? It's the mental work. It's those who own the room, those who believe that they're meant to be in that particular space. Now, does it mean that inside they're not doubting? Yes, they might have a doubt or two, but you don't see it show up when they're talking. And it's funny we're talking about this, because I'm doing a bit of hiring, and I was doing interviews this week. And it's so interesting because I was looking through resumes, and I put out this role. I said, 2 to 3 years experience, and I had people with 10 years, 15 years. And I'm thinking, my first question to them is, why did you apply for this job? Talk to me. Why do you think this is the right level for you? And, I just want to get into their head to understand when you have 15 years, you have 18 years, similar to myself, but I would never apply for this kind of role. So I was trying to understand, why do you think that this is the kind of role that you deserve? And I ended up doing a lot of coaching and mental stuff and introducing them to other people who were hiring for the kind of level that they're looking for or that they're at. But I'm not going to be able to help them when they get to that particular space if they don't think that they deserve or they have what it takes mentally, confidence-wise, to actually hold that particular space. And so it's the same thing. Why, when you're applying for those roles, focus on the ones that you actually want. The energy that it takes to apply for what you don't want is the same thing it takes to apply for what you want. Do not waste your energy. Use it for other things. Apply entirely for the ones that you want. Stop looking for space fillers and gaps. They distract you. There's just a lot in a particular space. Now, am I saying that, do not do what you need to do right now to pay your bills? Yes. Do what you need to do, right, but don't let it overwhelm you such that it takes you away from the big picture. Because one of the things that I find is people get comfortable in a particular space and then they never actually move forward into stepping into that thing that they actually want. And then you realize that, I remember when I was working in the UK as well, I worked in a branch, and I had people who were working, I was a manager, but working for me. And I asked them, how did you get into this career? You're like, it was a summer job. I came here 19 years ago, and hey, I'm still here. And, I'm surprised. I'm like, what do you mean? So, yeah, it was supposed to be a stepping stone, but then something happened, and yeah, I just got good at it. You don't want that to really be your story, because, again, as we said, you need to be in a space where you can actually flourish, something that feeds your soul, something that, that is what your time and what your person. And so, whatever the case may be, that mind work is the most important thing. What are you telling yourself? Because as an interviewer, as I was doing it this week, I was watching people, those that I thought, okay, I want to go to the next level. I knew in the first 2 minutes, Just that I thought, oh, okay, I'm just going to spend my time over here doing some good and coaching them and having them move on to the next. I knew as well in the first 2 minutes, and it's really that is really that easy. And the one other thing I wanted to add is when you see a role, a lot of you who are professionals might know this. If you go up to the HR, most times you have roles in organizations that are bands, and so they use the same job description every time. But as a hiring manager, you know that that's not the exact thing you're looking for. You're looking for nuances that are not quite in the job description. You're looking for personality type that might balance out your team or might balance out the stakeholders that you're about to deal with. So the interview is just like the job description is just like an invitation, a call out card, say send your stuff through. But when you show up in person, they don't talk about your resume. They don't talk about you as a person because that is what they are looking for. So when you look at the job description and you talk yourself out of it, but actually you have everything from a charisma, from a personality, from a experience, whatever that the recruiter, the hiring manager really wants, then you've already talk yourself out of an opportunity that could easily have been yours. So forget about what it says on paper. You don't have to tick off everything. And this is specifically for women, because I have interviewed men who do not qualify at all. I will put out roles, senior this and then junior this, and then I'll see women with 15 years experience applying for the junior role. And I'll see guys with 2 years experience applying for the senior role. I'm like, so this is one, especially for women. Do not wait till you tick every box on the job description. Sometimes we add fluff to job descriptions that we don't really want. This is nice to have. But then you talk yourself out and say, I don't meet these 2 things, so they probably won't look at me. Put it there. If you want it, put it there. Yeah. If you don't want it, then don't go for it, because it takes the same amount of energy to do the same, to do the 2.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Women, we there's something we don't like to brag about ourselves. Like, you try to downplay, I only have 1 year experience. I didn't really do a lot. No, I didn't really lead any project. Oh, no, I didn't. We kill ourselves. We shoot ourselves before the interviewer has the time to even destroy us. And again, those are things that you have to overcome. You have to show up as your best self. Put your best foot forward. You have to be able to lead the conversations when you go for these interviews. You have to be able to show the value that you're bringing to the organization. Don't just wait for them to ask you questions that you just answer. Like, give me an example. You need to be able to show your value. And a lot of women struggle with that. We don't know how to show our value. We like to be seen and not heard. Louisa, I say societal construct. Exactly. These are the conditionings that have really, really held us back. And just to this point, my first role, when I got a role as a director, and I was like, well, where are the women? Like, what's going on? And they're like, women don't really apply. I'm like, why? Like, I don't even have that many years of experience. For me, as a rule, I don't even look at how many years experience you require. That's not my business. Do I want this job? End of story. I'm applying, period. Let's battle it out at the interview. But women, you talk yourself out of it. Oh, I don't have, they're asking for 15 years. You have 10. You're like, oh, I don't have enough. Or, oh, I don't think I can. Have you led people before? You've led yourself. That's good enough for me. Oh, I haven't really led people. Oh, so you give yourself all these reasons why you're not qualified for the job, why you're not going to be good enough. But you are. Yeah. I enjoy working with women because, hey, women, we go all out. Men are fun to work with, but women do the work. Women are very, very hardworking. They really get in there and get the work done. So women, again, stop selling yourself short. You can earn as much as men, if not even more. We have the personality, we have the attributes, and a lot of us have the qualifications if we really want to go there. I'm not a fan of qualifications, but hey, if you've got it, then go for it. Exactly. We keep doubting ourselves. We keep waiting for somebody to validate who we are, what we are. Oh, do you think about it? Look at this. Oh, do you think it's good enough? You are good enough. You are enough. You already have everything that you need to get that job or to start that business or to write that book or start that podcast. Whatever it is you want to do, you already have what you need.
100%. I think there's a book I read that I would like to recommend. I'm trying to remember the name of the author, but it says what to say to yourself when you self-talk. It's so important. That self-talk and that self-doubt, like Louisa is pointing out, is ridiculous. It really takes you out of the game before you even get into the ring or anything. One of the things I wanted to say as well is that it doesn't always have to be when you're looking. It doesn't always have to be a push factor for you to go out there and see what you're worth. I always say that for me, interviews are fun. So I'm happy to interview. Yeah, let's have a chat. Let's see if let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what's out there.
Let's see what's out there. Let's have a conversation. And the thing is, it's so much more relaxing to get a job when you already have one. Because for you, it's like, yeah, what's the big deal? Yeah, they don't take me. Yeah, big deal. Let's just talk about it. So why do you think I'll be, or what hasn't worked very well for you guys? Do you, and this is the third person in the role. Do you maybe think that maybe this role is not right? Do you think maybe the framing and also asking them questions because
Yes,
hey,
ask them questions. It's too
I'm here
late.
for a conversation. I'm here for a conversation. So
Yeah,
sometimes it's you don't have to wait till you're looking for. Never be in a position where you're looking for. Now, it's easier when you're not even looking for, and you just want to have a conversation because that confidence in itself comes across in the conversation and it's so much more attractive. It's nothing that happens when you like somebody likes you more because you don't like them. It is the same thing with the interviewer. They like you more because you don't actually like them.
yeah.
And so when you go in there, you're having that conversation, you're like, oh, well, yes, it sounds interesting, And they're like, and they can't really tell from your face if you're eager, if you're not eager. They're like, so what are you thinking? I just wanted to, check with you again. That was a very interesting conversation I had with you. What is your mind that I couldn't quite tell if you're interested or not? It's such an interesting
Such a
dance, in
yeah.
my opinion. I really enjoy it.
It is.
And the other thing that Joan was saying that I want you to say is, listen, women, the kind of things we can dare to do. People that are close to me know how much is on my plate. I can only dare to do it as a woman because I have the ability to switch on and switch off. The way you will deal with your child and then deal with your husband and then be able to still run the home. That skill. People say, I don't have any work experience. That skill in itself, hey. If you give it a name,
If you
it's
run
your
a
ability
home,
to.
you manage people. I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, if you run a home, you manage people already.
If you come
And
from a
you
big
not only are
family,
you
you
managing
manage
people,
people.
your stakeholders are different and they require different level of attention. Your kid requires different level of attention, your husband a different level of attention, your in-laws. It is such a transferable skill. And it seems like a joke right now, but trust me, when you explain it and you're confident about what it means and how that applies into the role that you're going into, the person understands that, listen, it's not about the corporate experience, it's about this is what I'm bringing from a soft skill and an experience perspective, and I'm hands-on, I can get this done. It's something that women can do, and trust me, no offense to men, but it is much harder. This is much harder. You flip that switch, now your child is crying, and you flip the switch, sorry, yes, mom, yeah. And then your in-laws call, and then you change your voice, and in that moment, trust me, that is the exact skill set that you require when you're engaging with stakeholders across a large organization. And we just make nonsense of it. We say, I don't have corporate. Listen, you have what it takes. Connect with the right people and will help you understand how you express that in an interview, how you express that in your resume in a way that actually tells your story and it helps them understand the value that you're bringing to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as you were talking, I started remembering, people get comfortable. And people use words like, oh, contentment, or that's just mediocrity as far as I'm concerned. Like, you should never be comfortable, you should never be content. I don't care if you're working for Twitter or Facebook or Google or whatever.
Oh,
You,
please.
you,
Those guys now, are you joking?
you
Do
can
you know how
never
many
be
people have,
content.
do you know how many of my big tech friends have reached out to me to say, listen, financial services, how
How
does
does
it
it
work?
work? Are they hiring? And that's the truth, because
It's the truth.
there's no scarcity of jobs. At least that's my belief. There's no scarcity of jobs. There are lots of high paying jobs out there. If for you, again, why do you want a job? If it's your passion and it's like, I would do this for free, you already have $1 billion in your account, kudos to you, go ahead and do that. For me, a job has to be paying me good money, and it has to be interesting as well. It cannot be a toxic culture. So don't be content, oh, I've been there for 5 years, so what? I've been there for 5 days, so what? So what? If you're not enjoying it, now's the time to start looking for another job. Or don't wait to the point where they fire you. Like, people who get fired, I'm like, you must have seen it coming. I'm sorry. You must have seen it coming. You see the
Except, of
signs.
course, you're in big tech and it's 13,000, 10,000, then, you see it coming, but you never know how far it's going to go.
So start looking. Start looking. Start looking for new jobs. If you want to earn money, go look for bigger paying jobs. Look for bigger roles. Push yourself. Don't get comfortable. Don't just say, oh, okay, I'm earning 100K now. That's a good job. Some people are earning 500K. Do they have two heads? If you don't want 500K, that's you. That's up to you, right? Me, I want 500K. I want to make more money so that I can do the things that I love and spend time with people that I love and build something that I can give back to humanity. For me, that's my why. So anything I'm getting into, it's got to be speaking to, it has to be in alignment. It has to be leading me to my why.
So I had a conversation with a friend this week, and he was saying to me that, oh, how do you do this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know what? It's funny because I enjoy what I do in how It is. I will shake my head and go, oh my God. And I'll laugh in some cases. But the thing is, the moment my biggest fear when I was going in, because okay, so I started off working in corporate large bank, and there was loads of rotation, so there was always something fresh every 4 months, and it was so much fun because I would go in, solve a problem, and all of those things. I know, Larry, we all want 500K too, so jump in there.
Jump in
But
there.
but the thing is that, my biggest fear was I was going to get into a space where it will become monotonous. I will get bored, and then my brain will switch off. And I always tease, I say, you don't pay me enough to switch off my brain, because the moment that happens and my brain goes to sleep and I can just do the things monotonously, I am bored stiff. I never want to be in a particular space. But if you find something that you enjoy doing, that lights your fire, and then pays you well, my dear, that is where you want to be. That's a sweet spot where you want to be, because not only are you applying yourself, it comes easily to you. And you see, to those around you, it feels as if, how is this person doing it? But because it comes easily to you, it doesn't quite feel like work the way it feels like work for everybody else. Right. So you need to understand that thing. I used to ask myself, how do I feed this restlessness? There's this restlessness. How do I feed it? It's not because of anything else. There are many ways to feed it. It doesn't always have to only be through career. There are other activities that you can also, take part in that helps to feed that restlessness, but then it helps you feel whole and helps you feel satisfied as a whole person. So I just want to put it out there as well, in the sense that if you find something that you enjoy doing, if it pays you well, it's fantastic. That is a very sweet spot to be in.
Yeah.
If you then you're in a space where you're like, it's all great and all good. I'm an executive now, but I'm still not satisfied, and more money is not what I need. Then maybe impact is what you need. Opportunities to actually give back, and pay it forward and be able to point to others. In itself, it's not an easy job. People think, oh, when you say I'm volunteering, when I'm mentoring, it's easy. It's not, because if you're actually passionate about it and pouring into those people as much as you say, or as you should be, then it actually takes a lot from it, because you need to prepare. You're looking for materials. You're always thinking about, oh, how can I share this resource and that resource? So I would say that it depends on where you are. If you're in a space where you feel satisfied, but not satisfied, you feel like you're earning enough money, but still not satisfied, then there's a gap somewhere, because there is that need in man to contribute that you haven't been able to feed. And until you're able to feed that need in itself, you always feel, even if you're earning 1 million, you always feel dissatisfied. So I say, think about it holistically. But if you're not in that space, and you're not even in a 100K space, and you're not even in 200K space, my dear, buckle up, buckle up, buckle up. The whole contribution thing is great, and you can find a way of doing it. And there's a yearning in that particular space. But for yourself and for your family and for you to have that, quality of life that you want, buckle up and let's do the work.
Yeah. And everything you just said, I was just looking for my board, and I don't even think that I'm ready to share it, but I can show it very quickly. So I started to work on, because everything you're saying, I started thinking about it. I don't know if I shared the full thing with you a couple of weeks ago, but I really started thinking about it because, like you said, money is one thing. We all want money, but we also want to have freedom of time. So when people say, oh, I want to own my time, people want to be able to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And, for a lot of people who want to get out of corporate, it's usually around, I don't want somebody else controlling my time. You can't have 40 hours a week plus whatever transportation or whatever overtime you want. So a lot of people, you start off wanting money, and then you end up wanting time, and then you end up wanting to create an impact. Right? So for me, those are the three things that most people are really looking for. But then, maybe you started talking about, so you might just be doing a job, but you might not be filling your cup. You might not be doing this, you might not be doing that. And there's lots of exercises that you can do to figure out who you are. I think a lot of people, we get stuck because we don't even know who we are. We don't know what success means to us. We don't have a strong why. We don't know our purpose. We don't know our values. You're just existing. You probably just fell into a career. You fell into a job. So now it's like, ooh, you're grinding. Everything feels so painful. Where we all want to get to in life is where we're doing what we love, and it's paying us, and we still have that money, time, freedom, and we're also living an impact. That is the beautiful sweet spot. But how do you get there? Again, my map is very small, but you will not understand it unless I went through. But this is what it's called. It's called a life map. And I'll share it someday. But what it talks about at the lowest level, I'm going to show that lowest level because I think that's exactly where we're talking to, baby. So there's like different levels. The first one says jobs. The second one says serving multiple people. The third one says global. And the last one says impact. So for instance, I'm going to pick on Chinea because I saw her. So Chinea bakes cakes. So you might say, okay, I really love cakes. I'm passionate about cakes. I can bake cakes all day when I'm baking in the baking room. You know, I lose sense of time. I can bake for 24 hours and I feel energized. It fills my cup. How many cakes can you bake? So if you're doing one-on-one baking where people are booking a birthday cake or a Valentine's cake or Christmas cake, like how many cakes can you realistically bake a day? Not that many. Maybe you can do 10 cakes if you're Superwoman. Great. 10 cakes at maybe $100 per cake. How much is that? I don't know the math. It's not a lot of money. It definitely cannot fund my lifestyle. But you might say to yourself or convince yourself, but I really love baking cakes. I don't care about the money. But if you can't pay your bills, you can't take care of your children, you can't go on vacation, like really, is that really enough? So you can stay at that level, which is what most people do. I'm passionate about movie making, so you go get a job. I'm passionate about hair, so you go get a job in a salon. That's the barest minimum you can do with your passion. Just go get a job. But when you start thinking a bit more broadly now, so I love to bake cakes. What else can I do? How can I start baking for stores? How can I start, you know, hiring people or building a bigger bakery where I can bake more? So you start looking for ways to expand that baking skill set, like that passion that you really love, to say, how can I serve way more people? So that's the second level of thinking about this, your skill that you want to hold on to it for the rest of your life. And then when you're now making more money, again, but now it's taking more of your time because now you're baking more, you're hiring people, you're having to deal with all this stuff. Good, all well and good, you're making more money, but again, you might not have the time and you may not really be creating an impact because you're just giving people cake. And if they're anything like me, you're just making me fat because I love cake and cake makes me fat, but I will never stop eating cake. So that will be the second level, how you can expand your business. But to now start thinking a bit more broadly where you want to go global, it's like, okay, I love baking cake. What are some of the other things that you can do with cake baking? You can start creating recipes. So you might say, okay, I'm going to design my own cakes and create some recipes or become a cake artist or just consult to other people around the world. Now you're freeing up your time. You're not using all your time to do all the baking and suffer and now you're owning your work now. So now you're creating recipes, you're doing other things, you're teaching other people. You can say, I'm going to open a cake school, or I'm going to put together, you know, some unique pieces or accessories. I'm going to design whatever it is. You start thinking on a more global scale. Now you're expanding that initial thing. You still love your cake baking, but now you're thinking of other ways, other creative ways to really expand that passion that you have.
Yeah.
The final level is really the impact. And I think that that's where people want to get to, the point where now it's not just about me baking cakes. Now it's how can I teach other people to bake cakes? I've acquired mastery in this domain. How can I teach other people to use cake to design a life that they want, to have that freedom so they can also build, so that your skills now have now become exponential. Now you're coaching 1,000 people who are going to coach 1,000 people who are going to feed 5 billion people cake and make them fat. No judgment. But that's what cake does. It does make cake. Or you might say, okay, I want to make healthier versions of cake, whatever it is. So don't just stay stuck in that first level, which is where a lot of us get caught up in. I love cake, I'm going to go work in a bakery. No, that's the first step. Or I love cake, I'm going to start baking cake one-on-one. That's just the first step. You need to start thinking a little bit more broadly than just that initial passion of yours. Your passion can lead to exponential amount of money, freedom of time, and impact.
It's funny because just as you're talking about it, I think about my own journey about now in the space of serving people and now moving into that space. Yeah, you know, between the serving people and the global, that balance here and there, back and forth is kind of where I find myself. And just thinking about things that I enjoy doing and how that is working. So I think this is applicable in every area, right? It doesn't matter what the skill is, doesn't matter what the career is,
I like
whatsoever.
Hair. There's so much you can do with hair.
There's so much you can do with
food.
that.
There's so much you can do with food.
Lisa
loves to write. There's so much you can do with writing. Are you kidding me? Write for yourself, write for others, teach people how to write. There's just so much you can do. It doesn't matter what your passion is, but first you have to know who you are. And again, we're talking about people who are already making some money, because if you're in desperate mode where you can't even feed yourself, forget it. You cannot be creative. Let's just call it space.
Survival is not creative energy at all. It's not. You're trying to. It's not good. I always say fight or flight. It's not. If you're fight or flight, when a dog is coming at you, you're not trying to get creative to say, oh, what do I do now? It's one or the other, right? So you don't want to bring that kind of energy to try and create. It's when you're happy, when you relax, and you're able to actually think bigger, think about, oh, this is quite beautiful. Oh, this could be done. Those things don't come into your headspace at all when you're in the energy of trying to survive. I just realized that we have only 15 minutes left. And I wondered if there's anybody who wants to come up and join us.
Yes, if there's anything you're working on, come on. Or you have a passion.
What you want to talk about, just raise your hand.
And you want to know how you can use that passion to create multiple streams of income, create the kind of money or wealth that you want so that you can have time freedom to spend with your family. or to leave an impact in the world, yeah, come and tell us about it. What is your passion?
Come up. There is no ideal environment. I don't know if you joined in the beginning, you would have seen that I joined right when I walked through my door and I was walking around the apartment trying to find somewhere to put my phone and all of that, all of those pieces. So there's no perfect environment. If you're somewhere where we can hear you, you can hear us, go for it. It's funny though, because actually I made an effort this week. I said, oh, Demi, you need to get a mic so you can sound clearer. You need to do this. I got them. I never set it up. Didn't get a minute to set it up. I said to myself, oh, I'll do it.
We'll talk about procrastination one day.
I just didn't get a minute, to set it up. And I said, okay, fine, I'll do it on Saturday morning. Not realizing that I already double booked myself with, people coming in to do work this morning. So the time I thought I had,
okay,
I actually
Louisa wants to join us. Okay, so let me bring that on, and let's
bring Louisa on. Oh, I think again, Louisa wants to join us.
Louisa, I've sent you an invite. Okay.
Here she goes. Hey, hi, Louisa.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. So here, no makeup, writing. My passion is, I've listened to everything you guys said, and I agree. A lot of us struggle because, when Joan was speaking, I could see myself in a lot of things you were saying. You spoke about, having qualifications sometimes. And, I think the thing here is many times I personally struggle with self-doubt a lot. There are positions and opportunities I see and I go, but Louisa, you can do this. Then I'm like, yeah, but
doesn't come up.
I'm going to struggle. I'm going to this. But I think it was last year, I just got tired because I got to a point where I got very comfortable. Then I got tired of being comfortable and I went, you know what? Push yourself. And I'm happy I did that this year. And I think for the first time since moving to Canada, this is the first time I'm actually able to say, these are the companies I want to work for. Nah, I don't want to work for this one. Yeah, I've interviewed good. Nah, I'm not interested. This is the very first time. So I love writing and I'm looking for ways. I'm doing a lot of things with writing, but it's not yielding income yet. So that's where I'm at now. So I said, fine, let me pick your brain. You, Joan, okay. So that $1 million, let's say 2020, the goal is to make $1 million less because anything is impossible. So how do I start? How do I get there?
So because I know you, so I have the expo because I know you. So not only do you like writing, you like reading, right? And there's different types of writing, first of all. So there's professional writing, there's storytelling, which is what you like to do. There's biographies, which some people just want people to come and write their biographies. There's different kind of writings that you can do. I think you need to get out of the headspace of your writing has to be your work, right? You can write for other people. There are a lot of people who have things they want to say they don't want to write. So writing for other people is one option. You can also proofread because you like to read. So you can proofread for a lot of people. I don't like to read my work. I pay people to proofread stuff for me. You can proofread for other people. You've written 6 books now, yeah? 7 books, you're an expert. If you've written 1 book, you're an expert. You can teach people how to write books. A lot of people want to write, they don't know how to get started. Writing book, one thing, but you can also now branch out into other different types of writing. So corporate writing, professional writing, people that want to write business plans, they're giving you all of the information. You're just putting it together in a nice way, right? So you can branch out into different types of writing, you can even do, or you want to start, a lot of content producers don't even want to write this stuff. They don't want to write caption. People pay people just to write captions for them. So there's so much else that you can do with your writing, right? But you need to think a bit broader. So again, at the first level, you're writing your books, you're trying to sell your books. That's like a job, right? It's not paying your bills. It's not really, it's taking a lot of your time because you're writing these books. You write almost every single day. It's taking way too much of your time. So it's now you've written some books. How can you write more different types of material? So that's the next level where you want to serve more clients, not just your clients who read your genre of books. How can you help other people produce their works that other people can write? So you're now known as Louisa, who is also a ghostwriter. Louisa, who also writes professional content, who writes digital content for content creators. So you can start to expand that way. But I think the level where you need to be looking at is how can you now use even the writing that you have or other people's writing to now branch out into, we can make movies from these books. right? There's a lot of studios constantly looking for material for movies. Maybe you can even start script writing because you're a storyteller. So it's not just, it has to be a physical book, which is what you've always done because you love physical books. But maybe you can start writing scripts for movies. We all watch Nigerian movies and we all know that the storyline sometimes, now what?
Oh, man, the script, the
storyline
they could use some
leaves a
work.
lot to be desired.
There are like 10 different ways to say the thing that they said that was better than what they said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's so much that you can do. But the highest level, what you can really give back, because I know that you started writing as a young child. You can start teaching people how to write, how to really tap. You've written so many books, how to tap into that source to get creative when you're stuck, what to do, when you need it, how to create the plot, how to create this. You're good at all of this stuff. You can start to teach other people to write 1 billion books. That's what we really want to get to.
It's funny, Joan, as we were talking, and when she came up, I wrote down a few things.
You haven't written your book, so let's not get started with you because your book is still ahead of me.
We'll get started with me. We'll get started with me shortly, but in the sense of actually what the reason you can do, I thought about the fact that, because Jonah has said to me about how you started writing as you really enjoyed reading as a child, and I thought that actually you could actually start a holiday club, a weekend club for kids, where parents can sign up 1 hour of your weekend, 1 hour, and just get your kids started as a writer.
Yep.
What? $50, $100, whatever you want to charge, for subscription, membership.
Yeah, I think I'm stuck in doing pro bono work because I volunteered.
Louisa. Need to make money.
They have to pay for it. They have to pay for it. Because listen, we value what we pay for.
Yes.
We value where we have a teeth in the game. Right. It doesn't mean that you're going to charge everybody. And that's the best part as well, because it can be a part of it. Pay for your time because it is still a group setting. So it's still a small amount, which means you're really giving back because you're not paying for what it's worth. Yeah. But it means that they will show up and they will be committed to doing that particular piece of work. So you can do that for kids. You can also get your kids started into writing. The materials that worked for you when you were a child, what you enjoyed about it, you can actually scale that up. And it becomes, you see? And you can actually scale that up to get them started on how they can begin to build their own stories. You can also do the same for adults, right? Who, like myself, who have always wanted to put something on paper that will start and then we just forget the other ideas and move on to other things. I know Joan is rolling her eyes. We move on to other things that just require us to go. If I have someone that can sit down and tell them the story, everything in my head, and they begin to write it down, I'll pay for the service, really, because the time to sit down and do it and all of my detection hasn't really translated into the book, if you know what I mean. So you can also do the same for adults, and for adults it's two levels. But it's not like myself who want to pay to have somebody sit down with them and you give them whatever number of hours, or they can send you their detections in their notes and you put that into writing, or you also have those who want to write by themselves, want to learn how to write. So you have different groups and will pay a different amount in a particular tier, as it were. Then you have your writers' inner circle. Those who have written 1 or 2 books who are now stuck and not able to go beyond that but want to scale. Again, you can do that. This is 5 groups of people that will pay you significantly well enough. Right? For you, it will be pro bono because you're not actually charging them exactly what it is worth, but because of the group setting, it adds up to actually be enough for the time that you're spending with them.
You have a lot of value. Again, because I know you personally, so I have the expo. You have a lot of value, but I think it's that self-doubt where, because it comes naturally to you, you think, why would anybody want to pay me for this?
Like
volunteer for companies that when you put that I volunteered for this company on my profile, people are like, whoa, you've worked for this company. I don't even call it a volunteer. Just say, I work for this company. It has to be something that's doing something for you. So believe that you have value. You have a lot of value. You have skills and talents that are not common. I wrote a book. It was war. You have written 7 books.
7.
She writes 4 books at the same time.
Seriously, Louisa, I think you're underestimating what you can do. Listen, what Joan just explained is what I call the law of the mirror. The law of the mirror says that you have to see value in yourself, right? For others to see value in you. If you don't see this as something being valuable, right? I'll give you an example. Something that comes to me naturally, that for a long time, like, why would people pay for it? Is my brain is just give me the single line of, okay, this is our vision. In my head, I've broken it down into, okay, this is it, this is it, this is it, for all the different departments and teams. And I'm excited. But then I realized that when I'm looking about it, everyone, I still got challenged recently with a client. I says, I don't understand what you're saying. I said, well, we've talked about this before. I said, no. I said, oh, and I realized that we never talked about it. It happened in my head. I have moved past the conversation. And then, so I had to slow down. But for a long time, I just assumed, why would anybody pay for that kind of service? Because it comes to you naturally, you're calling it, no, you have to see, love the mirror, see value in yourself for others to see value in you. And then that way as well, you begin to see more value in others as well. So you really need to do that work in a particular space. But there's so many areas. As me, I'm a potential client. We start, because there's so much going on, right? I'm a potential client.
I need to go back to my drawing board. Yes, because what I was thinking initially was, since I have branched into children's writing, so I'm actually putting together a podcast for children's writers. But I'm like, can't I make money from this too? Yeah, because those are the questions I go, oh, but
why
should I be
not?
charging
It's a
for
gift.
it?
The talent, the parable of the talent. No, because my master gave me and it was a gift. I came back and said I didn't do anything with it. Like I wasn't charging for it. It's a seed. You need to go and invest it and yield multiple results. Because that's the only way you can scale. Otherwise, the level of impact you're going to have is always going to be very small. You need to be able to, scale and be able to impact yourself into other people in a way that there will not be so many Louises that can then also like Joan was saying, you feed 100, your 100 are able to then stand by them so that they can go and feed 5,000. That's how we should work. But if you're so busy with should I be charging for it, it's small, how do I start? It's never going to go bigger than a particular seed. You need to be able to put it in the ground and allow it.
I meet a lot of people who, once they find out I'm a writer, the first thing I hear is, oh, my kids like to write. Maybe you can mentor them.
And your response to be, that's interesting. I actually have a young writers club starting up in the summer. You should sign them up because it's filling up really fast. Here is my link to my subscription page. There will be a 6-week summer camp for kids, 1 hour, whatever, twice a week for them to get into writing. And they're like, oh, where can I sign up? They haven't said they want it for free. You're the one who was used or they want it for free. Because you don't have the page or anything to send to them, your reply should be, oh, that's interesting. I run a summer club. They should sign up because it fills up really fast. And I only want 20 children, so I can give them enough attention. That's it.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. So I think I'm just learning the business side of writing. Yes, because for me, it's, when Joan was talking about, passion, I was just sitting down here eyeing her. Because I went, Joan is talking about me. She is talking about me. So I think that is something I need to work on for 2023. I need to go back to my job and work on monetizing these gifts, monetizing these blessings. Because I think these things, some of these skills come naturally to many of us, or some of us, we take it for granted. You don't understand the struggle. Like when I get people reach out to me and go, so I've had this book in my head. Just right. So how do I go about writing it? And I go, just write.
So it's two things. Yeah. It's two things then, Louisa. I'm really happy that you came up. You raised your hand and we're having this conversation. And I know that you know Joan quite well, so you're close. I don't know you that well. So this is what I'm going to do for you, right? I do what I call a spa session with women, which is basically where we sort through your goals, we prioritize it, and then we hold you accountable. So it's a spa session, right? For 2023, I don't like this, I'm thinking about, whatever, no, it doesn't quite work. I will give you the 2 hours and this has to be either in the last week of December or the first week of January, where I want to see on the back of what we just had a conversation, what your objective and your goals are for 2023, in the sense of monetizing this writing. Okay. Because you are not going to go out there and tell people about your summer club in the summer. You tell them from the winter. So they sign up now and it starts filling up fast. Right. And we can also, because that's how it happened. So when we're very clear about what the goals are for the 3 tiers or 2 tiers, whatever you choose to go through, then we know what the numbers are going to be, because you also have to have an income goal for the year. One of these pieces we'll talk about. So I'll give you my 2 hours of my spa session to go through this, either in the last week of December or the first week of January. Let's talk about it. So I don't know you that way, and ask Joan. I tell people, listen, this is BS. Get away, you're not ready. It is what it is. But I get a sense that you're ready, and there's so many ways that this can actually go for you. So I will give you those 2 hours.
No wahala. Thank you very much. Thank you for bringing me on here. I see some of my friends here. I just want to say hello to you all. I see Flash Kick. Flash Kick, I think I met you in Ghana with Rachel. I see Style Doctor here, book club.
Oh, please promote your book club. Louisa has a Ottawa Black Book Club. If you love reading books, sign up.
So I run the I run the Ottawa Black Book Club. It's a virtual book club where we meet on the last Saturdays of every month from January to November. So this is actually our 3rd anniversary, and our last meeting for this year is next week Saturday. So please feel free to send me a DM.
Also send a link. Do you have a link? If you have a link, we can put it in the body of this. Put it in the chat, and then
yes. We actually have a page here, so I'm just going to put it in the comment section. Okay, all right. Then also follow my children's book page at the Melanin Jali Project. It's also on Instagram, fantastic. So I'll share that.
I'm really happy to meet you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I look forward to working with you.
All right.
Okay, thanks, Larry. Okay. So we are at time. It's 1:01. Yes. So I'm thinking, Benny, do we want to wrap things up for today?
Yes, let's wrap it up today. I think Lou, Lou, you can stick to the end. You can stick to the end if you like. So
okay. I don't have.
So guys, I want to say thank you all so much for being a part of this today. Louisa, thank you for coming up. Guys, you saw what we just did with Louisa. It's exactly how it works. It doesn't have to be perfect place, perfect, set up, I'm all made up. No. Just show up and let's talk about what your idea is, what your challenge is, and let's break it up. And we'll come up with solutions, multiple streams of income, and what your next steps should be. And we might even hold you accountable, depending on how much we see that you're actually invested or interested in what you're trying to do. So I look forward to being here again next week, as we've committed to it. So we will be here, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. Share with your friends. It will be every Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. So we look forward to connecting with you again this same time next week. We only run for an hour, so it should be so much fun. Joan, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Louisa. Thank you for all the comments. We couldn't read out every single comment. But again, we're here to support. Again, this is filling our own cup as well. So again, like we were saying, make sure that you find things that you're passionate about, things that fill your cup. And if you're struggling to how to monetize it or how to make money or to move forward in your career, hey, let's have a conversation around it. 2023 cannot be the same as 2022. That is for damn sure. We'll make sure that it's not. So have the courage, speak up, and let's move things forward. We're all created for greatness, and sometimes we just need a helping hand to get there, and we're here to help.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Take care.
Have a great weekend.
Bye, everyone. Right. Bye-bye.
Bye.